Cherish the past, dream of the future, but live today. Time waits for no one, and when Tee Insixiengmay needed a fresh start after a tough breakup, he bought a one-way ticket to the adventure of a lifetime. From his ancestral homeland in Laos to the mountains of South America, Tee has been backpacking his way around the globe with the goal of visiting 35 countries by his 35th birthday. While he loves the beaches, the majestic views, and the amazing foods, it's the connections with locals and his fellow travelers that leave the biggest impression.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of C4 Podcast, Southeast Asian Athlete Achievement Through Adversity. My name is Coach Andetka. I'm here with my co-host, John Messina. Hey, if you guys haven't already, please like and share our page. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, C4 Podcast. Follow us on Facebook and IG, Lao American Sports. And if you know somebody who has a great story to tell, someone that's gone through a lot to get to where they are, please feel free to message us and let us know because we want to hear, those stories are out there and we definitely want to hear them and share them with our audience. All right. Without further ado, I'm going to have John introduce our guest.
Yeah. So before we jump into it, first, I wanted to thank the Lao American National Alliance, also known as LANA. They invited Co and I on to speak about our organization and talk to all of the other organizations that they're working with. Really cool stuff they're doing. So check out LANA. And with that, this interview is kind of almost a spinoff of one we did a couple years ago with Andre Sukumthot. We've got one of their good friends here, good friend of Andre and Jamie Sukumthot from Woonsocket, Rhode Island. He's doing some really good stuff. Tee Insixiengmay. So we're going to jump into his really, really cool story here. So I'm going to let Co go ahead and take it away.
Hey, first of all, T, why don't you say your name? Because I think John butchered it.
It's all right, man. The last name is a tough one, man. It's been butchered all my life. So the first name is real simple. It's Tetee. Everybody just calls me T. And my last name is Insixiengmay.
Wow. Yeah. And the reason I butchered it is because I know people with that name, and that's how they say it.
Okay.
By the way, so yeah. Anyway.
Hey, no, John, you're good, man. You're good, bro.
I'm just messing with you. Yeah. Hey, man, tell us a little bit about your family's origin in Laos and their journey to the U.S.
So from my father's side of the family, they're actually down in the south in Savannakhet.
Okay, that's where I'm from.
Oh, okay, yeah. So my father's side of the family, they're from Savannakhet, and my mom's side of the family is from Paksay.
That's where my dad's from. Holy shit.
No shit! Wow, that's crazy.
My dad's from Paksay, and my mom's from Savannakhet, and I was born in Mukdahan.
Oh, wow, okay.
Like in Thailand.
Yeah. Okay, wow. So basically, we the same, but opposite. My dad's from Savannakhet, my mom's from Paksay. So
wow. Cool.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. But pretty much typical story. That my family fled Laos into Thailand. They were there. I think my dad was there when he was 3 years old. Didn't get asylum to the U.S. until I think he was 7. My dad, there's 13 siblings altogether, and then the oldest brother got asylum to the United States first. And then over the years, the rest of the family followed suit. So that's how we ended up in the U.S.
What year? What year was that when?
I don't know what year my uncle got here. To be honest, I don't know the exact date.
Probably 75, the mid 70s.
Probably later, maybe this 80, something like that. Probably.
Yeah, I think so. When my dad got to the United States, I want to say it was like either late 70s or early 80s.
Yeah,
because he was still in his late teens. Yeah, his late teens, because he had me pretty young. He had me at 22 or 23, I believe. So okay. Yeah, he was here. I want to say roughly the late 70s or early 80s. Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, cool. So where did
you guys end up?
What was that?
Where did you guys end up in the States?
So from what I understand is my uncle got asylum to California at first, in Sacramento. And originally we were supposed to stay there, but then for some reason he came over here to the East Coast, and then that's where the rest of the family came. Don't know what the reason was for, but originally they had gone to California first, or my uncle got assigned to California first, and then they migrated over to the East Coast over here in Woonsocket.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I was born here in Woonsocket as well, But yeah, I was born here, so I don't know like too much of the history. As far as like migration and all that stuff, I kind of just know the gist of it. Um, but yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said, I was born here, but I couldn't speak English until grade 5, grade 6, because my parents couldn't speak English, you know.
So were you learned Lao then?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
Laos is my first language. English was actually my second language.
Okay.
Yeah, so like going through school and stuff, I was in what is that they call it? ESL.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yep.
was in ESL and all that stuff. So yeah, like I said, I didn't learn English until well, I didn't start speaking fluent English until grade 5, 6. Obviously, I was learning as kindergarten, first grade, second grade, and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what's going on with me, or that's my history.
Cool. Well,
Yeah.
tell us about your childhood and growing up in Woonsocket. What was it like?
So it was pretty good, man. Typical. I don't know if you want to call it like typical American, Western kind of culture. Where I live, there's actually a big Lao community here. It's a big Lao community, Cambodian, Vietnamese. But we all kind of stick together growing up as kids. Like I remember, we a lot of us played for soccer growing up, and we would all get together on our bicycles, ride around town, get to soccer practice, hang out. And then we got a little older, we'd go and hang out in our friend's garage, playing cards, and start drinking and stuff like that. It's typical teenage stuff. You know what I mean? Typical teenage stuff. But yeah, that was real nice, man. Because as you start getting older, people are moving to different parts of the country. You start losing, hanging out as much as before. People are getting married, having kids, things like that. You start getting older, life gets in the way. You know what I mean? But all those memories from when we were kids riding around bikes, like that's one thing I'll never forget. There'd be like 20 of us, just riding through the city, going from park to park to wherever to just getting into mischief. So I'll never forget those memories as growing up. So that was real nice. And same thing with the family stuff. I remember we used to love watching boxing. And we used to watch boxing on the I don't know if you guys remember Black Box back in the day.
Oh yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Boxing
yeah,
Yeah.
there.
yeah,
Yep.
To
yeah.
get around the pay-per-view paywall. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we'd all gather at like my uncle's house or whatever. They'd call for the Black Box, watch the Mike Tyson fights. And I was a kid at the time, but it was one of those, that was like a family thing, all the whole entire family, all the cousins get together and we all just watch boxing. And as a kid, like boxing matches would go for a long time. So, the rest of us kids would go run off and, go be kids. But those are some good memories growing up, man.
Yeah, before the black box, man, we were watching it like you'd have the channel and it'd be squiggly, and you'd be watching, you try to wait, try to
Oh,
look.
yeah.
Wait,
Yeah,
it's,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, Co. That's how you watched some other movies when you were a kid, probably.
yeah.
Right
I
through the
didn't, I didn't, I'm not this fan. Yeah, yeah, those channels, yeah, that you had to pay for that we didn't pay for. You can hear
Yeah.
the sound though. I remember, yeah, man,
Yeah.
like 4, 5, 6 of us, and we were just Friday night and Saturday night, and yeah, we were bad, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cool.
So hey, how'd you get into traveling? Tell us that story about who you're watching on YouTube.
Yeah, so there was this guy, his name was his YouTube channel was called Lost in the Blank. It was a Canadian guy. And I came across his channel 2000, just randomly watching YouTube stuff. And I came across his channel in, I want to say 2015 or 16. And I just started watching his stuff because he was doing all this traveling around Southeast Asia. And it was really like intriguing. I'm like, man, like I'm seeing all this stuff like outside of, like, mind you, Rhode Island is the smallest state in the United States. And I'm also living in one of the smaller towns within the state. So it's very small, tight knit, but it can also get very boring, right? So like you see the same things all the time, but then I see this guy on YouTube, and he's like in Indonesia, in Thailand, and all these places. I'm like, holy crap, like that's so crazy. Like I want to go and explore the world one day. Obviously with work, with what I was doing at the time, and this and that, just it could never happen. Finally, to be honest with you, how this whole travel thing even kickstarted was I was actually going through a breakup.
Oh,
Yeah. So
okay, okay.
yep. So I was going through a very tough breakup for me, and I remember saying to myself, and this is a few years later now, but I remember saying to myself, because at the time I was 30 years old, and I said to myself, well, I was like, you're 30 years old now. You have no kids. Now you have no girlfriend. I was like, you don't pay a mortgage. Your car's already paid off. You don't have any like, major debt. And I was like, hey, listen. I was just telling myself, hey, listen. If you're gonna travel, I was like, now's the time to do it because you're only gonna get older, and there's literally nothing holding you back anymore. So now, I remember like it was yesterday. I said that to myself. I hopped on the computer and I impulsively bought a one-way ticket to Bangkok. So that was 2000. I bought the ticket in May or June of 2022. The flight was August 7th of 2022. So 2 months later, and off I went. And ever since then, man, like my life has done a whole 180. I have become a totally different person from who I was before, and it's just crazy, man. It's really, really crazy. But how that, like I said, how that all kickstarted was through a breakup, and what I do notice is that I don't know if you guys ever heard this phrase before, but they say people don't just if people want to change, they don't just wake up and change, Something drastic has to happen for them to change.
Mhm.
Now, not necessarily that I was looking for change. I was just looking to heal, right? To heal and to just explore the world because I've always wanted to anyways. But because that incident happened, the rest of this all has now happened, you know what I mean? Um, but yeah, like people that are, drug addicts or whatever, they 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 have an overdose, and it's like a thing where then they survive the overdose, and it's all of a sudden they're like, oh my god, like that had a near death experience, like and then they change. But with the whole traveling thing, that's how that started for me, and ever since then, man, I haven't looked back, and I've just always been trying to find a way to keep the travels going.
I mean, if you don't mind us asking, like,
Yeah,
how did you fund this? Because you just quit your job.
yeah.
You got
So
a one-way ticket to Bangkok.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I had a chunk of money saved up, and I was doing a lot of now. And at this time, now I was watching a lot of YouTube videos of people traveling, and this is the first time I've ever heard of like the term broke backpacker. So basically, people just travel with a backpack full of clothes or whatever, and on a budget. So let's say, for example, all right, I'm gonna go to Southeast Asia with 6 grand. I'm gonna make this last as long as I can.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm just gonna backpack through Southeast Asia. So I heard about that, and then I had some money saved up, and I was like, you know what? Like I said earlier, this is if I'm gonna travel, this is it. I've got to do it now because I'm only gonna get older. So I did the broke backpacker route as my first real solo travel. Because I did leave the country before back in right before COVID. I went to Spain and Portugal for the first time. That was my first time ever leaving the United States, and that was what really opened my eyes to like there is so much more to the world than where the hell I'm from. You know what I mean? Where I live. So that was like the first where the travel bug bit me. But then when I did my first solo trip was when everything changed. And at the time, so right now I'm in a union, and I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with unions, but I'm in a trade called the iron workers. So we build skyscrapers and things like that. I don't know if you ever seen that one photo with they're having lunch on a steel beam above the
New
Empire
York
State
City?
Building.
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So that's what I do for work as far as my trade goes. Um, with that, obviously, it's still a regular job, 40 hours a week, but because it's a union, you can literally work x amount of hours for the year just so you make your hours, and then you can just take off and then come back and go and work for another company to make your hours. But the job I'm very lucky because the job I have now is perfect for my lifestyle, where we literally work for a month and then we're off for a month, then we work for a month, then we're off for a month.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah. So right now, I actually work for a company from the Netherlands. They specialize in building wind turbines offshore in the ocean. So that's what I do right now. But
Wow.
our contract is actually because there's like laws in the United States and with the ocean, but so we can't continue after I think November 31st or something like that. So the contract is going to finish so the season is going to finish for this year at the end of November, and then we don't have to start back up until May of 2025. So my idea is that once the contract's over, the chunk of money I have, I'm just going to take off to South America, and then I'll come back when the season starts up.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. Yeah.
yeah.
That works out, man. That is
Yeah,
cool. So
man. Yeah, I've been so I've got I got very blessed. I feel very blessed and very lucky to have the position that I have right now. But with that being said, though, I am working on things. Like I have a YouTube channel. My computer my computer went to crap, and so I haven't really been posting any videos. But I've been trying to do the Instagram thing. Been trying to do the YouTube thing. But at the same time, I'm trying, but I'm not like super trying. And the reason why I say that, of all the trips that I've had this year so far, and I think I've been to 7 or 8 countries by now, just this year alone. This last trip was actually one that really hit. It really hit different. It felt different. It hit different, and I've been thinking about it since I got home. About why was it so different, and then I realized I didn't bring my camera with me this time because my computer when it died, so I was like, there's no point for me to bring the camera. I can't record anything anyways. So I was just living in the moment, just hanging out, just living versus living out of the camera. You know what I mean? So yeah. I think that's why it hit different, because I was being present.
Yeah, you were experiencing it naturally, right? Without thinking, I got to take this shot for this. I got to film this, film that, and like
exactly.
I would do that with my workouts. You know, like me when I work out, I have workouts. But when I'm like, hey, let's film this for YouTube or film this for Instagram, it throws me off. You know, you can't get into a rhythm or a flow.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. Like sometimes too, like when I do have my camera out, like a lot of locals, they're very curious. You know, they're like, oh, what are you recording? What's that for? This and that. So you do make friends from that. You do meet people off that. But again, for example, I have a really good story. When I was in Laos, I went to the Kwangsi waterfalls, and the whole time I'm recording. I'm with a friend from Canada, and I'm recording the whole entire experience. By the end of it, when we finished the whole tour and hanging out there, I remember her asking me, she's like, oh, what did you think of the waterfalls? And I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, holy crap. I was like, to be honest, I don't even know, just because I was just I was going through this experience through the lens the entire time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. It's nice to go back and rewatch the clips and see it. Like, oh man, that was so awesome. But it's like, I was there, but I wasn't really there. You get what I mean? You get what I'm trying to say?
I get. You go to like a concert, and you'll see people there recording with their phone the whole time. You're like, they're not even they're not here, right? They're thinking about the cool posts they're going to do later. And missing the show. It's the same thing. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. Well, so how many countries have you been to, and what are some of the coolest?
So as of right now, I think I'm at 16 altogether. I'm actually on a mission. I have a goal. I'm trying to hit 35 countries before I turn 35.
Could you list the 16?
Yeah, I have it on my phone. Let me see. Oh, sorry. I know it was. Give me 1 second.
We got Thailand and Laos, right? For sure.
Yeah. So I got. This is in no particular order, but Canada.
Okay.
Canada, Spain, Portugal, Thailand, Laos, Malaysia, Cambodia, Indonesia, England, Ireland, Mexico, Colombia, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Honduras, and Nicaragua.
Wow.
That's a good list, and a lot of them are not the usual tourist spots.
Like
El Salvador's coming up because it's gotten safe in the last couple of years, but before it was like, not a lot of people would go there. What were like your top 2 or 3?
My top. I get this question a lot. And it's so weird because, I talk to other travelers and I'm like, hey, did you like this place? Or what was your experience there? And everybody has a different experience in all these different places, right? So somebody will have a different taste about, X place. Somebody will have a different place about Y place. But for me, I had a really good experience in these 2 places. One was in Vang Vieng in Laos.
Okay.
The second was in so it's a little island off of Bali. It's called Gili Trawangan, nicknamed Gili T. It's a little small island. There's no vehicles. You can only get around by bicycle or by horse. Little small island. Like you could probably walk the whole island in a day and a half. So really small island. But my experience there was really, 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 really good because so Vang Vieng, for example, I actually went back there because I was in Laos for a total of 2 months. And I went back there, I think 3 times. So I'd go to Vientiane, come back, go to Luang Prabang, come back, just because the experience was so nice. And I think a big part of both of these places, why I had such a good experience, was because of the locals. I really got close with the locals. Like that was my community. You know what I mean? Like you go, so I usually stay in hostels, and like you go and stay in hostels, and like yes, you build like a little community for a day or two, but I had a community of friends, and they almost seemed like family to me in Vang Vieng and also in Gili T. And I just had a really, really good experience there, man. I felt like it felt like home to me, you know? It felt like home to me. So those two places will definitely probably be definitely top five at least, because every place there has a special place in my heart for it. But top five, especially those two, definitely top two. I can't tell you which one is number one. Really tough. But those two are definitely up there for me.
Yeah, and then so it's obviously going to be easy for you to relate to people in Laos because the language barrier is not
Yeah.
there. But like in Gili T, how was it to really get to know them on a real level? You know?
So to believe it or not, in Indonesia, especially in Bali and Gili T, they actually speak very good English.
Uh,
And the Indonesian people in general are very, very hospitable, very nice, very sweet, they're very easy to get along with, you know? And that's why a lot of people flock to Bali. I'm sure you guys all heard of Bali.
yeah.
Just because like the Indonesian people are just so nice and so welcoming. And obviously the country is very beautiful. The islands are very beautiful. And then you add on, you know, the hospitality to it, and it's top tier, you know, when it comes to feeling like you belong, so to speak. You know what I mean? But yeah, as far as that goes, I'm a very social, very friendly person as it is. So for me, like making friends, meeting somebody new, talking to somebody is very easy. It's very easy for me. So now, you know, and again, Gili T is a very small island. So within 3 to 4 days, you're gonna know everybody. If you're, what are they? Is it an introvert that's social, or is it extrovert?
Introvert doesn't like social. Extrovert is like always putting
Okay.
themselves out there, right?
Okay. So if you're an extrovert, you're gonna meet the whole island within a couple of days. You know what I mean? And if you got good vibes, man, people, you know, good energy attracts good energy. So with that being said, you know, like you're gonna meet people, and you know, people are either gonna like you or they're not gonna like you. You know, depending on like your energy and the vibes you bring. But yeah, within a couple of days, I pretty much knew everybody in Gili T for the most part. I remember one night, so there's a strip in Gili T where it's just like all the bars and the clubs, and I met these two American girls. One was actually on a TV show. She was on Married at First Sight. I don't know if you guys ever heard of it. It's on TLC.
I think I've heard of it.
Yeah, so she's from Georgia, and then I met another girl from San Diego, but they were friends. I met them, and I'm like, hey, like, you guys want to go hang out, whatever. So we're walking up and down the strip,
So
and
I'm guessing it didn't work out because she's out with her girlfriend in Bali.
what was that?
I'm guessing the marriage didn't work out.
No, it was a TV show. Like, but yeah, no, it didn't work out. I didn't even know she was on a TV show until because we hung out. I hung out with their group for like the next night as well, and that's when I found out that she was on a TV show. But yeah, it didn't work out. So so I'm hanging out with them, and then as you know, we're walking up and down the street, and then like everybody's saying hi, hey, what's up, T? This and that. And they're like, are you Indonesian? I'm like, no, I'm not. They're like, it's like, you know everybody. And going back to what I was saying, like, you know, if you're an extrovert, you know, doing this solo travel stuff, you're gonna be just fine. But yeah, and in Bang Vieng, there was you know, the hostel I was staying at, the owner was Vietnamese. One of the workers was Vietnamese, and his name was T as well. So me and him clicked right away. And he was my age. There was another guy. He was from the Philippines, but he worked there. He was like the receptionist. Really cool dude, super cool vibes. Got along with him. So pretty much, it's so funny because I was actually more friends with all the workers and the volunteers in the hostel than I was with the travelers that were checking in and checking out. You know? But yeah, man, those two places, man, I'll never forget. And like, I still keep in touch with a lot of them, and I keep saying I'm gonna go back, but I'm on this mission to do 35 countries before I turn 35. So it's like I want to finish my goal first before I start repeating countries that I've been to before. But I definitely do want to go back, man. Definitely do want to go back.
So let's go to the other end of the spectrum. Let's talk about some of the most challenging places or dangerous situations that you've been in, or countries that you would not go back to, right?
I can't say I wouldn't go back to any country. I would go back to all of them. It was a really good time. I had a really good time in all of them. But a real tough situation I had, which was actually just on the last trip I was on, was when I was in Nicaragua. So I was in Nicaragua for about 2 weeks, week and a half, 2 weeks, and my card, my ATM card, so it's an ATM debit card, had fraud on it. Now the town that I was in, that I was moving to, not a lot of places take credit card. They don't take ATM cards. They only take cash. So I had rented a car. I was driving from one town to the next. It was like a 2.5, 3 hour drive. So as I was driving, I'm just thinking to myself, like, yo, what the heck am I gonna do now? I was like, I'm gonna be in this town for at least another four days. I was like, I only have maybe $30 US on me. So it's very stressful, but doing all this traveling, like things always happen and you just learn to be calm, right? And you just learn to think things through and just try to figure things out. And so I get to town, and this was my idea, because not everybody uses Venmo, not everybody uses PayPal from different countries. So I figured, you know what? I'll try to find an American, and I'll say, hey, can I Venmo you cash, or can I Cash App you? Can I Zelle you? Can I PayPal you? And do you mind going to the ATM for me to pull cash, because my card had fraud and blah, 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 blah. So I checked into my hostel, and even the hostel, they weren't taking credit card. You had to pay by cash. So I told them the story, like, hey, listen, this is all the only cash I have on me. They said, don't worry, you don't have to pay until you check out, which was like 2 or 3 days later. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to try to figure something out about this whole cash situation. So I ended up meeting a guy from Texas, telling him my story, and he was able to pull out $200 cash for me, which I was able, actually, no, I blew that all in one night. I blew it all in one night. Went to this like jungle party, and just at the bar, just boom, boom, boom. So I ran out of cash. And then so that guy ended up checking out the next day, so I didn't get to see him again. So now I'm back in this predicament of, oh man, like I need cash. This is actually a really, really crazy story. So I had a friend that I met. She was from Georgia. I had met her a couple days prior in another town in Nicaragua, and she gave me a phone number to a guy to buy tickets to that jungle party. But I ended up had getting tickets from somebody else. But she told me that he had to do something similar for another girl. So she was like, maybe you can give him a call or text or whatever. So I said, what the heck am I gonna do? I was like, I can't find any more Americans. So I end up texting this guy. So I'm talking to this guy for a little while, just trying to feel him out, trying to, like see, is this a good guy or not? So he's like, yeah, I had to do the same thing. I pulled out money for this girl, and I sent the money to her, whatever. I sent somebody to give her the money, blah, 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 blah. So he's like, do you need me to do that for you? So I'm like, yes. I was like, but do you mind giving me the money first, and then I'll send you the money, only because I never met you. I don't know anything about you, just for my own safety, And then he's like, dude, don't worry, man. He's like, I do this all the time. He's like, look, I'll even send you the conversation and the phone number of the girl I just did this for a couple days ago. If you don't believe me, you can call her and ask her. So he sends me all the stuff, and I'm looking at the conversation. I'm thinking about messaging the girl, but if the guy sent me this, I was like, okay, maybe this is for real. You know what I mean? And so I end up PayPaling the guy $500 US just out of the whim. Now you guys are probably wondering, is like, what does he get out of it? He's like a loan shark, right? He charges like a little fee. So I send him $500 US, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna have a driver come and drop off the money for you. But the whole time, we were talking. I was just thanking him, like, yo, thank you, man. Like, I don't know what I was gonna do. I couldn't find any more Americans, this and that. And he goes, dude, don't worry about it. I've been in your position before. And he said a quote to me. And he goes, my mom used to always tell me the most important people are the people that are directly in front of you. And he's like, even though you're not in front of me right now, but technologically you're in front of me. Basically, what he's trying to say is like, focus on the people that are in front of you right now, and like help out who's ever in front of you right now, other than worry about all these different things at a time. So he's like, yeah, I'm gonna have somebody bring the money over to you, blah, blah, blah. So I'm waiting, biting my nails, because I'm like, damn, what if I'm getting scammed? Because Now like an hour has passed, and I'm like, I think this guy scammed me. So
Oh,
so he actually texted me, he's like, hey, is the driver there? And I'm like, no, he's not. I was like, I've been waiting for like 45 minutes. He's like, oh, let me call the driver and see where he's at. So he texts me back and he goes, yo, I am so sorry, the driver got robbed. uh the driver got robbed, blah blah blah. So I'm like, dude, are you kidding me? And he's like, no, I'm just kidding. So I'm like,
ah,
this
geez.
freaking guy said, he's like, yeah, the driver got lost, he's gonna be there in like 5 minutes. Lo and behold, the driver pulls up, hands me an envelope. On the envelope it says the quote that his mother says to him. It says,
Uh,
yeah. And I was like, wow, there's as crazy, as stressful as that was, man, there is still good people in the world, man. I say this all the time. A lot of magic happens when you travel solo, and that's one of the incidents that I'm talking about. What would anybody else have done it? No, probably people will probably be judging me right now, saying, "Dude, you're dumb. I would never have done that." But I've traveled so much, and like I said, a lot of magic happens. And if the guy never sent me his the conversation with that girl, I probably wouldn't have done it. But my intuition was telling me that, hey, you can trust this guy. And lo and behold, he helped me out. I was able to have some cash for the rest of my stay in that town, and everything worked out well. Luckily.
Yeah.
yeah. So that's cool. So that's kind of a cool story. Any like really warming stories with local families you
Yeah,
met and
yeah. Another one this was in Colombia. Um, so I traveled there. I met up with a friend that I met in England a year before, and we went out there. We've been traveling together, and we saw this one thing on TikTok. Basically, it's like a viewpoint that you can see we were in Medellin. You can see all of Medellin at night, and it's like super, super beautiful. So first we tried to walk there, but you get to a point where you can't walk anymore, and you have to get a cab. So, but we're at the top of this one town, and the GPS is telling us to walk this certain way, and it kind of looks like a. It just looks very sketchy. And by the time we got up there, it was 9 p.m. We're like, I don't know if we want to walk through there. Like that doesn't really look like a safe spot to walk through, especially just like us two. Like we're not from here. So we ended up waving down a taxi, and it was a young couple, a guy and his girlfriend, and they didn't speak any English at all. But at the time, we had data. We had self service, so we were just using Google Translate to talk to them. We're like, hey, we're looking for this viewpoint area. Do you know it? Can you bring us there? Yeah, no problem. Starts driving there, but we get to the area that we need to be in, but now the car it stops and you have to walk the rest of the way. So this young couple, they're basically trying to give us directions to which way to enter to go to where we need to be. And we don't understand each other because now we lost cell service, because now we're like way up high, like up in the mountain, and like this really high hilltop. And they're trying to explain to us the directions, and we don't understand. We lost cell service, so finally the guy just goes like this, and he like reverses, parks his car. They both get out of the car, and they go like this. So basically, what happened was they basically walked with us all the way to the viewpoint. And the viewpoint, we had to walk through like this little path about 20 minutes, and then we had to go through all these steps real up high. Now his girlfriend was like, she was like a little bit, like heavier set. So for them to come out, and do that, show us, like walk through, bring us, and then bring us back down the stairs. That was very heartwarming. You know what I mean? He didn't have to do that. So yeah. So afterwards, when we finished with the viewpoint, and here's the bad part about it: the actual viewpoint that I went to, it was too cloudy, so you couldn't even see Medellin. So basically, I'm just thinking in their mind, like, oh, we just did all that for nothing. You know what I mean? Now maybe they were doing it for like extra tip at the end of the day or whatever, but me and my buddy felt so like compelled by it. We were like, man, let's go down to the bar, let's get a drink, let's get to know them. Like now I want to get to know them. You know what I mean? That there's good people. And you hear all this stuff about Colombia and stuff, and Colombia's a lot better now, but you know what I mean? So now we get down to this bar, and we're literally hanging out with this couple that picked us up in a taxi for like 3 hours, just chatted with them through Google Translate. You know what I mean? And no, they were such a lovely couple. We actually still have their contact. And I remember one of the things they said was, so we asked them like, hey, like, why did you help us? Like, like you could have just dropped us off, made your money, and just went. and they were like, no, like we want people to visit Colombia. Like we know we have a bad like history, we know we have a bad rap, but like we want more international people to come, you know. And I really respected that. I really, really respected that, you know, because it's just two regular average Joes just representing their country. You know what I mean? And I really respected that, and I really admired that, you know. And even then, like when we were walking up, you know, we were walking by people, and like there's people up there like trying to sell drugs, trying to sell whatever, trying to sell water, trying to sell, and they're like they were basically like stopping all of them. Like, leave these two alone. You know what I mean? So I really, really, really respected that. And that, like I said, that happened out of the blue. We just waved down a random taxi, and they brought us up there. And yeah, they was such a nice couple.
Well, that's cool. So what you touched on a little bit about this 35 countries by 35 goal.
Yeah.
What's the future hold from you, and tell us about your next plans?
So right now, my current plans are, so the contract ends in the end of November. I plan on heading to South America at least for 5 to 6 months. I've been traveling a lot of Latin American countries lately, and
Now, you speak Spanish at all? Or
no, no, I took
you
Spanish in high
translate?
school. No, yeah. I took Spanish in high school, and like I said, I've been traveling a lot of Latin American countries lately, and it's just a lot of them don't speak English. Some do, but a majority of them don't. And it hit me after this trip. I'm like, all these Latin American countries that you've been to, like, why don't you just go and learn Spanish? So now my plan is I'm going to go down to South America. I'm going to enroll myself into a Spanish school for maybe a month or two, and try to learn Spanish, because it's useful. You know what I mean? So I think Spanish is what the second largest speaking language in the world. So it's just like, why not know at least the basics, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so that's I'm gonna be down there doing a little bit more traveling. Contract starts up again in sometime in May of 2025, and I'm just gonna keep on traveling, man. It's like a drug. You know what I mean? It's addicting, man.
That's addicting, right?
Yeah, it's a good thing, man. It's like it's just addicting, man. Like you meet people from all over the world, the experiences that you experience, man. Like even just now when I just came home, this is actually the longest I've been home. I've been home for about a week and a half, 2 weeks now. This is the longest I've been home since May of this year. And you know, you're on a trip where you're doing something every day. You're meeting people every day. You're always like you're always being stimulated, right? So you're up here, and then you come back home, and then you're just down here where it's like. And don't get me wrong. I'm not speaking bad or anything. You know, I love my home. I love my friends, but it's like you're coming back home to the same thing it's always been for all your life. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it does get tough to readjust in that sense. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep on traveling, man, because it's just an experience, and you know, you only got one life to live, and it's like just live it, just live it.
Speaking of which, man, you know, for people that are pursuing a dream, right? I mean, what advice would you give them? Someone that wants to do something like, you know, what you're doing, or just like they want to be in sports, they want to be in movies, they want to be a singer. What kind of advice would you give to them?
I think from my own experience, right? Just do it. And what I mean by that is I read a quote the other day. It said something along the lines of time is always going to tick, whether you do something, whether you do something or you don't do something. So with that being said, everybody's always waiting for a right time, right? Oh, I'm gonna wait for the right time to start a business. I'm gonna wait for to start this. I'm gonna wait for the right time to approach that girl. I'm gonna wait for the right time for whatever the case may be. From my experience, like there's no such thing as the right time. You just got to do it, you know? Because once you do it, it's either there's only two things that's gonna happen. You're either gonna go all in or you're not. But at least once you get the ball rolling, you're starting. You know what I mean? And I think that happens with a lot of people with anything really. It's just getting the start. So for instance, like I've always wanted to travel since 2015, 2016. I finally didn't start until 2022. You know, obviously it was through the heartbreak, but finally I said, you know what, just do it. Just buy the fucking ticket. Oh, sorry. Just buy the ticket. Just buy the ticket. And then, like I said, you know, life has never been the same since, you know? So.
Nice.
That's really cool, T. We look forward to following your adventures. We've enjoyed, you know, seeing some of the videos, everything from just traveling to you skydiving and doing all this other cool stuff on the road.
Yeah.
So we're excited to follow you over the next 6 months here. once you take back off on the road. But where can all the listeners follow you and see some of the cool stuff?
So I do have the YouTube channel. It's Thirsty for Adventure. Same thing as my Instagram handle. My Instagram handle is Thirsty for Adventure. Again, my computer is down right now, so I still have clips and videos from back in Mexico from May that I still haven't uploaded yet. So I'm really behind on that. But as far as if you want to just keep up with me live, come December, follow me on Instagram. I'm constantly posting on my story, and I think you guys will love it, man. People always are telling me like, yo, your stories are so crazy, because I get into some crazy stuff when I travel solo, man.
Yeah, we saw some of it on there, and that's what spurred us to invite you on this show. And that and Jamie's recommendation, because some really cool stories, folks. So make sure you check out Thirsty for Adventure on Instagram. We'll put a link here in the show notes, so everybody check that out. But yeah, T, we appreciate you coming on. Anything else?
Oh, hey man, it was great hearing about your adventures, man, and good luck to you.
Thank you, man.
Future, stay safe, but and all the best to you. All right, thank you,
man.
So much for coming on.
Yeah, stay safe not only on the road, but even at your work. I know you're hanging out there on top of an offshore wind turbine on top of it.
Appreciate it, guys, man, and thank you guys so much for having me on, man. Keep up the good work. I really respect your guys' page, man, what you guys are doing, man. I didn't even know. Like all these like Lao kids like going to D1 schools and stuff like that. I'm like, wow, that's so crazy, man. I respect it, man. So big ups to you guys, for real. And again, thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate it.
All right, thanks. We're out, folks.
All right, guys. Have a good one. Till next time.
The C4 podcast is brought to you by the Lao American Sports Hall of Fame. Visit us on the web at laoamericansports.com, celebrating the first, inspiring the next.